Hi, my name is Dr. Fab, Dr. Faria Yasin Bukhari, and I'm recording this video right now in order to talk to the rest of the world about what is going on right now in terms of the upcoming World War III. The alert for World War III has never been bigger, stronger, and more powerful than today as I speak these words. And we are all in this together because we are sharing this planet, whether you like it or not. We are sharing this planet, no matter which country you're from, what's the color of your skin, what dialect you speak in, what is your nationality, what your religion is, what your ideology is. We're all sharing this planet together. And while there is a very strong, concerted, focused discussion on the climate change in order to preserve this planet, we fail to address the issue of Armageddon and end of times and apocalypse and World War III with the same enthusiasm as we do for the climate change. What we need to do right now is to maximize our peace efforts, no matter which country, which nook and corner of the world we are from. No matter what's the color of our skin, no matter what language we speak, no matter what nationality we are from, no matter what our religion is, no matter what our ideological basis is. Because an Armageddon and an apocalypse is not going to help anybody. Nobody is going to be helped with it. We are in this together. We have to save this world together. We have to unite for peace. And we have been trying, I know, but the peace efforts by a limited number of humanitarian platforms have failed completely. They have totally failed. And the escalation process still remains continued. And I just heard that Hamas has offered a peace treaty and is willing to talk to the Israeli regime and talk about peace. This is something offered that was offered by Yahya Sinwar 1 month after, within 1 month of 7th October. However, peace was never responded with peace because the plan was to conquer Gaza and to create more illegal settlements there and to plunder the Gaza offshore gas reserves by drilling them and by plundering $500 billion worth of gas, natural gas. So this was the plan, and 7th October was like a false flag attack to justify the so-called self-defense of Israel. We are seeing how this self-defense over the last 1 year has entailed itself, and it has actually exposed the ugly face of Netanyahu and his investors and his backers and his supporters and his funders and the people who are trying to arm him to the limit. It has showed what their real interests are. It was never peace. It was never to have contentment and to have stability. They want an unstable Middle East. They want to justify this continued escalation of violence against civilians, against children, against women, and against humanitarian workers, against journalists, against activists, against even the Peace Corps. So they are not going to stop. They have a plan. They made an agenda. And it is our duty to confront it completely with whatever we have. We don't have weapons. I do not have weapons. You do not have weapons. You are peace-loving, law-abiding citizens of the world, no matter which corner you're from. So listen to what I have to tell you. Here's what you can do. No matter which country you're from, no matter which state you're from, you can make a difference. You can start focusing on not just the upcoming elections that are happening in US. You can also bring about a change by pressing upon your governments to broker more peace talks and to try to deter any more escalation of violence in the world in terms of the Middle East. I know you guys have already engaged in economic boycotts and they have literally helped a little bit. because Israel has an ATM bank coming directly from the Central Bank of US and from the Treasury of US, and no matter how much you boycott it, it will not stop its escalation and its conquest mission. So, what is the best way to do this? How can you deter Israel from trying to go on an extermination spree in the Middle East? I think what I can ask the American people is to rethink before they vote for Kamala Harris, because she has continued to support the genocide. She has funded it, she has armed it, she stood by it, and all she has done is shed crocodile tears for the children of Gaza who have been assassinated cold-bloodedly in premeditated act, and the genocide is continuously happening. We are seeing them getting lynched alive. We are seeing them getting assassinated, massacred, mutilated, maimed, and their schools are burnt, their hospitals are burnt. The entire infrastructure that could help them exist in Gaza has been destroyed and decimated. Gaza has been razed to the ground. And this was the plan, and now there are open public talks about settling Israelis over there. And this was the plan from day one. So this was not a rescue mission for the hostages from day one. This was a mission to occupy Gaza. This was a mission to invade Gaza. This was a mission to decimate Gaza. This was a mission to plunder Gaza and its resources. And in order to do so, they bought the US government, they bought the US Congress. And the question is, have they been able to buy the American people? I think they are in the process of buying the American people with the fake promises of their reproductive rights, with the fake promises of groceries and less inflation, which is ridiculous, because all this inflation that we have seen happened to the American people, happened during the Biden administration due to his warmongering and due to his endless engagement in wars across the globe. The only institution that Biden administration has appeased throughout its 4 years is the military-industrial complex of the United States and the deep state. I understand that in 2004, when Bush decided to be re-elected and had just invaded Iraq, you still had the benefit of doubt because it had been only a year since the invasion of Iraq had begun, and you did not know as yet that he was lying, and you gave him the benefit of doubt and you re-elected him, even though he was a war criminal and he committed genocide of 1 million Iraqi people. But here is your chance. 4 years of Kamala Harris as the Vice President of the United States has given you the title of an apartheid state now. I'm talking to you, American people. I'm talking to you, United States. You are now a designated, unfortunately, unofficially, you're a designated certified apartheid state, because your regime, your ruling regime has, without hesitation, funded and armed a genocide of the people of Gaza. And now the genocide is extending to Lebanon. And it's going to extend to Yemen, it's going to extend to Jordan, it's going to extend to Turkey, Saudi Arabia, as per the Greater Israel map that has been flashed multiple times by the leading officials of the Israel regime. So your name is on it, whether you're Mr. Timothy of United States, whether you are Mary of United States, whether you are Kristen of United States, it doesn't matter. Your name is on this genocide. And if you vote for Kamala Harris in the next 6 days, you have put a seal of your approval on this genocide, and now you're very much a war criminal yourself. The world is not going to think of anything else, because you cannot have the benefit of doubt that you do not know if this is a genocide or not. You have seen the figures, you have seen the objective data that has been provided to you through various social media accounts and through certified sources. if you're still refusing to acknowledge your role in continuing this genocide and then neglecting your role in ending this genocide by voting for another leader 6 days from now, then I'm sorry to say you are selfish and you have lost your soul, you have lost your conscience. No matter what your religion is, what your ideology is, it doesn't matter. If you're a human being, you do have the ability to think and feel. You've lost your sensitization, you've lost your sensitivity, your compassion, your empathy as a human being. And if you've lost your empathy as a human being, then you're not a human being anymore. Then you're no more than a zombie that you watch in the movies or that you watch in the video games that you play. What are zombies? What are zombies? I mean, symbolically, what is a zombie? Zombie is a brainless, half-dead person that is eating other human beings alive. So what are you doing? My question is for the American people. If you continue to support and fund and arm a genocide in Gaza by voting for a war criminal like Kamala Harris, who in the last 4 years has only supported a genocide and who has only supported unending wars on your US tax dollars, while your hospitals are scrambling for intravenous fluids and elective procedures are being delayed because of lack of intravenous fluids, Kamala Harris has been uninterruptedly sending US dollars, precious US dollars, to Israel to kill more babies of Gaza. If you condone to her policies, then you are not even an American. Because as per the Constitution of the United States, genocide enabling is prohibited and banned in the US Constitution. Kamala Harris and her colleagues have been consistently funding and arming a genocide since day one. And this has been done on your tax dollars. This has been done with your support, with your votes, with your rallying, with your lobbying. So if you're going to support, rally, and lobby for Kamala Harris, then you're very much a war criminal yourself. You're very much committing these atrocities yourself. You're very much butchering these babies in Gaza yourself. You are unfortunately very much complicit in this genocide, and one day you will be indicted for your role in this genocide, for pushing these war criminals back up in power. You will be responsible for it because your vote did this. So the second thing that I want to talk about is 6 days are left to the US elections. The whole world has to focus on the US elections. There are a couple of things that I'm going to talk about today. The first one is that the Dems, if they realize that they're going to lose in these elections, which I think they are realizing, they may try to cancel them. And how are they going to try to cancel these elections? I've done these videos before as well. And I have proposed this concern that I've had that I noticed and felt through my analysis that the Dems may try to cancel the elections and appoint US President Biden as the permanent president of the United States. And in order to cancel the elections, they need to have some kind of huge event in the United States that cripples the infrastructure and that destroys the ability of the United States to be able to hold elections. And how could that happen? It could happen, number one, through natural incident, which I mentioned above, like a significant hurricane, a significant tornado, something that's going to just destroy most of US through a natural disaster. And the second one is that they're going to create a man-made disaster, which is a war. And the war, they've already escalated. As you can see, they've within a week of Antony Blinken's visit to Netanyahu, we see Israel attack Iran and try to bomb it. And Iran used its defense systems to minimize the damage. But having said that, now if Iran retaliates by directly impacting Israel, then the entire US Congress has been indoctrinated to scream for an immediate response on the Iranian soil using the US weapons, using the US drones, using the US missiles, and NATO missiles as well, as the NATO head has already proposed that if Iran retaliated, then they're going to barge in and jump in and do whatever they can against Iran. Means they're going to join the war, and World War III will start. So if the World War III starts before 4th November, what's going to happen? There's a very strong possibility that US could get attacked by one of the forces. Now, in the past, I have mentioned that there is always the risk of US getting attacked by Russia because you're in the middle of war in Ukraine. You're always at risk of getting attacked by the North Korea that has been totally ignored and empowered and allowed to have nukes by the Biden administration in the 4 years, because all the distraction has been diverted towards Hamas and Iran. Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran. Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran. That's it. That's all that the social media and even the mainstream media has been harping about. Iran is the enemy. Hamas is the enemy. Hezbollah is the enemy. So when any such attack happens from anywhere, from North Korea or Russia, they're going to blame Iran. They're going to blame Hezbollah. They're going to blame Hamas. Hamas has never even threatened to attack US. Hamas is very, I would say, very strong, powerful force that has originated out of the Palestinian state, out of the Palestinian people, and its main purpose is to defend the children and the people of Palestine from the aggression of IDF. The only goal is to try to protect the children and the civilians of Palestine from the aggression and try to mediate peace so that Palestinians can live in peace and can exercise their right of self-determination as per the UN resolutions, and also exercise their right of self-defense as a state. They are trying to work for the statehood of the Palestine that was lost in the middle of all this chaos that was created in the last 77 years. So basically, they're fighting for their rights, and as per the International Charter, they have the right to fight. But coming back, but they have never really directly said that they want to hit the American people, they want to kill the American people, they're going to attack the American people. As far as Iran is concerned and its proxy group Hezbollah is concerned, they have never ever directly said that they are going to attack the United States of America unless they're provoked, unless they're attacked first. So if US jumps in, as per the Biden policy, which I'm seeing happen within the next 48 hours, actually it's already happened, because the US forces are already in the Middle East. The US planes are already there. The US military bases from Iraq were used to instigate this attack against Iran that happened in the last 48 hours. US is already involved. So now you are at risk of getting a retaliation from Iran. And I'm surprised that they haven't retaliated in the last 24 hours. They're still observing restraint. So this is not something that cannot be stopped. Iran, you can still talk to Iran. You can still try to tell Iran that you're going to withdraw your forces and you're going to withdraw any more escalation of violence in the region. And this can be done with your pressure. But having said that, the Dems are going to try to resist that. They want a full-fledged World War III. They want you to vote Kamala Harris into another tenure out of the fear of Iran. They are creating this artificial engineered fear of Iran and Hezbollah by having Israel escalate so that they can coerce a vote for Kamala Harris from you, just like Bush was able to do so in 2004. So they're repeating the same policy of the Republican Party. The politics of fear that yes, you're engaged in a battle against Iran, and the current regime, the current Secretary of Defense, the current Secretary of State is taking care of the matters, and it will take a while for a new administration to absorb these significant conflict changes and be able to respond appropriately. But I don't think this is the right way to look at it, because this is not 2004, this is 2024. And I think 20 years should be enough for you to realize that a blunder can only be made once, but it cannot be allowed again and again and again. And if you're voluntarily committing a blunder by voting in genocidal terrorists like Kamala Harris, then you're very much committing a genocide yourself. Then you cannot tell and shrug yourself and say that, oh, it's the deep state that's doing it. Well, the deep state is getting empowered by you when you vote for Kamala Harris. Now, coming to the point that I initiated, that they may try to cancel the elections by creating an Armageddon fear, creating an apocalypse fear, which is where we are right now. And at the end of the day, if Iran chooses not to attack US, which most likely is going to happen, then they may instigate, they may incite, they may unleash a nuclear attack or an attack by weapons of mass destruction against the American people themselves, because they do have their fingers upon the nuclear buttons and upon the weapons of mass destructions. They can do that. They can create, design an attack against the American people in these 6 days and show it to the world that it was done by Iran. And they can destroy US to such an extent that elections may become impossible to be orchestrated on the 4th of November. So this can happen, and I predicted this a month ago, and I'm reiterating what I predicted, my fear about a month ago. But it looks like they are succeeding in their mission to bring about that day when US is going to be hit hard by some kind of a major attack. And the precipitating factors for that attack would be from within the United States, not from outside, but from within. And the reason would be to cancel the upcoming elections, and this would be so that Biden could be appointed as the president for the next many years till US is able to finally have another election. Because obviously if there's a nuclear attack, you're looking at an apocalyptic situation. It will take US years before US will be able to have the proper infrastructure to be able to have a voting process and be able to hold fair and proper elections. So they want to create that a situation. So you have to stop them. You have to stop the Dems from doing so. And you have to put the pressure, you have to engage whistleblowers within the US Army, within the US bureaucracy. You have to request the whistleblowers to come out and expose the Democratic Party's evil designs before they're actually orchestrated. And there should be more and more exposure in alternative media journalism sites where these evil designs of the Democratic Party are exposed to the rest of the world, so that they can be restrained and they can be contained and they can be stopped from pursuing these designs and these engineered apocalyptic scenarios in the US in order to bid for permanent appointment of Biden as the President of the United States. So that is one thing that they could do, and I have been saying that since day one, that I'm worried that they're going to do that in lieu of the fact that they're losing, which they are losing. And then the second thing is that 6 days are left to the US elections. So whatever I know a lot of peaceful, pro-peace humanitarian platforms have failed in mediating dialogue, but this is the time to de-escalate. This is the time to restrain yourself, to contain yourself, because it's only 6 days. If the American people appoint a leader other than Kamala Harris, there is a very strong chance that peace will be implemented on the 4th of November 2024 and thereafter. Because we have to give a different leader a chance to come with a different policy that is different, that is at least a flip of 180 degrees from what Biden has been doing in the last 4 years. Because the economic and the diplomatic damage to the American people with the Biden's policies has been only underestimated. The inflation has gone up. The homelessness has gone up. Apartment evictions is kind of the norm. The real estate market is so unstable. The hospitals do not have enough funds to be able to carry on their regular procedures and processes. There's a shortage, there's an acute shortage of intravenous fluids. I'm a physician. I work in US hospitals. I know how important intravenous fluids are to save lives of septic patients, pneumonia patients, GI bleeders, and the hospitals are having to delay their services, their elective procedures in US because the Biden administration's priority is not the American people who are having to use the American hospitals for their health. The Biden administration's priority is, unfortunately, creating a greater Israel and creating conquests in the Middle East and in remaining in power forever in the White House. That's their priority. They're selfish, they're corrupt, they're mean, they're brutal, they're war criminals. They have to go. You have to make sure they're gone. You have to make sure they're voted out. And you have to make sure that since they're losing, because you're not wanting to be a genocide enabler against the US Constitution. You do not want to be called a war criminal. You do not want to be held responsible for the atrocities that have been committed in your name, with your money, with your arms in the Middle East. How do you do that? How can you do that? You have to stop yourself from voting for the Democratic Party. You have to vote them out. And you have to make sure when they find themselves losing, that did not use the weapon of mass destruction against you or against the world. Period. You have to give peace a chance. 6 days are left. You can negotiate with Iran. The iron image and the brutal image that they portray in front of you, you have to look beneath the cover. You can negotiate with Khamenei. You can negotiate with the current president of Iran that actually had a soft corner for the world, for the West, and he was supposed to be the so-called reformist. You can talk to them. You can talk to them about peace. You can talk to Hamas about peace. Hamas is interested in peace talks with Israel right now as I speak these words. Talk about peace. Work for peace. Give peace a chance in these 6 days. Do not escalate. Do not let your government escalate. Do not let anybody escalate. Period. Only 6 days are left. And vote out. Vote out the genocide enablers, the genocide perpetrators, the war criminals, those who have committed atrocities in your name, those who, because of those who are making you now being held responsible for a genocide in Gaza. This is something you'll have to live with, just like the Vietnam War, just like the Iraq War. This is something the American people will have to live with. The shame. This is something you'll have to live with. The world is going to look at you differently now. The sympathy, the empathy, if you don't have it, then you have lost your soul, you've lost your conscience, and you're just a zombie, like Kamala Harris, like Biden, like Anthony Blinken, like General Austin Lloyd. You're just a zombie like them. My question is, are you a zombie? Prove me wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Tell me that you're not a zombie. Tell me that you're a human being. Tell me that you can feel, that you have that empathy when you see these mutilated, maimed bodies of little children who have been killed, massacred, butchered with your arms, with your money. Prove me wrong that you have not been zombicized, that this nation, the American nation, has not become a zombie. Vote out Kamala Harris, and in 6 days, make sure nobody's allowed to push any weapon of mass destruction within the United States. And talk to your rivals and talk peace. Say peace. Say it loud. As loud as you can. Try to give peace the last chance. 6 more days left. Only 6 more days left. We can still do it. Once the regime changes in US, once there's a different leader other than Biden and Kamala Harris, we can have maybe an alternative fate of not just the United States, of not just Gaza, but the rest of the world too. Bye-bye. You have a good one.